So, a lot of us have experienced over the last year or so the incredible feeling of using an agentic engineering tool for the first time. And you can have this amazing feeling of productivity. You can build things so quickly it feels like, wow, I'm kind of 10 times more productive, I'm 50 times more productive. But looking at the organizational level, the gains, as many of our speakers have mentioned today, seem much more marginal. If you can believe it, the data is actually showing that there are some teams that are actually moving slower now that they are AI accelerated. So what's actually going on here? So our next speaker is working for an organization that's been thinking hard about developer productivity for over 25 years. And he's going to be talking about some of the things that are actually holding us back in terms of productivity and how we can really unlock that next level of productivity from AI. So please welcome Head of Product for Air at JetBrains, Tkachev.
Thanks. So, yeah, that's really me. Just you see. I'm Nick. I'm doing product management for Air. Air is our new strategic bet for building the agentic development environment compared to IDs we already have. And we try to figure out how to build something agent agnostic and applicable to the very changing world we currently are in. And my talk will be somewhat a continuation of Martin's talk. Thank you for that. I will be sharing a bit about what people are telling me as a PM. So this is kind of like a venting out talk for you. You're forced to hear that now. Surely you know JetBrains. We are doing developer tools for 26 years now. We're on a mission to build tools which not only make you productive as a developer, but also make this job enjoyable. So this is really important to make it feel that I would like to use the tool. And if it comes to AI, just to give you a perspective from JetBrains, there are a lot of organizations who are AI optimists or AI built organizations, and that's great because they are actually moving the frontier a lot. They have more than 1,000 different options on how to spend a lot of tokens. So just ask, like, we can give you swarms, sub-agents, and like sub-agents of swarms. There are also pessimists who are just pulling back, getting like a pushback for everything which does not make sense. They're also very valuable because they give a reality check to things which are not going to work based on the experience. We're somewhere in between. We're trying to apply things which frontier organizations are trying to push on the market. We try to think how it brings you the productivity, how it brings you the return on the investment. So we try to stay within the realism. Of course, there's a distribution of folks in engineering and product who are on both sides. But as an organization, we are kind of trying to be realistic. And realistically, LLMs are impressing. I've been doing ML products for 10 years already. I think this is like the most pressuring part of my journey so far because it's like super cool. What can you achieve with that? But it's super tough to build a product. And to be honest, products suck these days compared to the capabilities models provide to you. And they can reason more and about more complex problems. But of course, the real unlock in the current productivity state was with agents, which is practically the same model with harness of your choice. Harness is a thing to help you collect the required context with the model, iterate within the loop, provide the interface for the user to actually interact with this model properly, and a lot of other smaller things. We learned that as JetBrains by building Juni, but still we're staying agnostic with which type of agents our customers prefer to use. And there are a lot of extensions. Some of them are standardized already, like AgentsMD, but tell this to Anthropic. Some of them are less, but very prominent, like skills. And we'll see where it goes next. I did this talk last time here in London in February, a very similar talk about what happens now. And the last time, the problem was with adoption. These are the numbers from the developer ecosystem survey we run annually and now quarterly for AI. And I was really impressed when I just got the weighted numbers from our research team. This one will be published on our website as usual, so you can figure out yourself what is happening now. But ultimately, AI tools are being universal already. But the most interesting part is coding agents are being close to universal, or people are just saying that they are using these tools because they want to say that. Anyways, it's not a problem of adoption anymore. It's more like a problem of how to bring 10x out of that. Any 10x engineers here in the room? I'm not, no. But as an engineer, yeah, maybe, as a product. Anyways, we are on a mission to not only help you be a 10x engineer, it's just, from my perspective, it leads only to burnout, but to help teams to actually see not marginal improvements, but somewhat close to 10x improvements. And the high adoption itself does not mean that the productivity grows, right? It's a different thing. So what hinders the productivity? I will talk from 3 different perspectives, and feel free to disagree with me on those observations. I will talk from the individual perspective, again, very close to what Martin already said in the morning. From the team perspective and what is happening currently on the team we observe on the market, and from the organizational standpoint. Hopefully it will create the holistic picture of what's going on. So for individuals, there are lots of problems with coding agents from the individual perspective. I think we're not talking enough about them. We are just talking about how to use them. But agents creating a lot of fatigue. That's surprising. As a tool, it's one of the most exhausting tools I've seen from a developer perspective. It requires you to have a lot of new skills to acquire before you can be productive with that. And it creates a lot of stress with the whole change of the way we work, the way software is being built, and things like that. So lots of concerns, frustrations, and pressure. First, I don't know why, maybe that's a coincidence, but agents are highly addictive, especially when you start working with them. This is a very popular meme these days. But if you think of it, it's not far from truth, because when you start to work with agents, you buy some subscription with tokens, right? You spin the slot with new prompts, and you have this dopamine hit, because your expectations usually low when you start using the tool, but it surprises you with some kind of one-shot solution, which looks pretty nice. So this is an interesting observation, and especially interesting to see that most of the models, at least until the very last time, been trained to please you with the answer. So they are very good to have this very pleasant answer to you. You're absolutely right, is one of the memes. Nowadays, they're trying to push you back, so we're counterbalancing this. But still, there are lots of analogies on how to build this product as addictive as possible. The next one is that working with agents for quite a long time is kind of exhausting. Why? Because you have to spend your budget on decisions every time the agent asks you for tool call, or to review the result, or to ask the question. And that's okay when you work with one agent, but that becomes a very big problem when you start working with multiple agents. And why do you work with multiple agents? Nowadays, agents do more complex tasks. It's not because the model becomes much better. It's mostly because there's an inference time improvement, meaning that the agent can iterate more, doing more steps, using more tools, bringing more context. It just takes more time to perform the task. What does it mean? You have the idle time. So you're just staring at the screen while it's thinking. Not very nice thing to do. So what do? You open another one. And then another one. And then, where am I supposed to look at and what is happening? I don't know if you were playing online poker. Anyone? Is it the same? So yeah, if you go this route, you will be drained pretty fast, so be careful. And the next thing is that, as I said, products are immature using these models, and no one cares about the onboarding. So this is the whole onboarding for the CLI tool. You just open that, and it says, like, ask me anything. Like, how, what can you do? And it takes a lot of time to actually get on track with the productivity. From what I hear a lot, it was reported to be 3 to 6 months to have some kind of confidence about what you do with agents. And the goalpost is moving, so you still have to learn and build new habits over time. It's a huge investment, right? So we do a full-time job. This is my full-time job. It's still hard. And you have another one. It's a big pressure. And the last thing is about the FOMO. There are a lot of cool people on Twitter telling us what to do with agents these days to be 10x engineers. So, I don't know, like Boris drops and says, like, okay, we do loops. Then Peter, who did the OpenClaw, says, like, yes, loops. You should not be prompting anymore. Then Karpati drops the bomb with some framework you need to learn and like understand. Then people are telling you that you're wasting your time watching Netflix. You have to learn agents. Then JetBrains drops Air, whatever it is, the new tool for agentic experience. I never had like time to try other 10. Then we have a goal, so you should not loop anymore. You should goal your agent because that's the future. It was like a week ago. Then you have the new very dangerous model being published. Then you have the very new dangerous model being prohibited to use. How cannot you feel like the fear of missing out? That's very expected. So just unsubscribe. You will get all the news from your peers and colleagues. Don't be in that bubble. But generally speaking, if we speak about the ways of how I see the development of this kind of interactions with the agent, I think that it brings more clarity to you on where you can delegate things to agent once you build trust and once you have an experience with a successful attempt. So ultimately, we all started with a completion. We just let this complete our line of code, then a code snippet, then you can ask something simple to generate a snippet, then we do prompting. We do that step by step, very carefully, observing on each step what is happening. Then we can try to set up the acceptance criteria and say, like, okay, just iterate until you hit that, or give up. That's also something which is very feasible these days. And then, like, once you have the toil, which is, I think you are doing more and more often, then you start thinking, maybe I can automate that, maybe I can trigger that, maybe I'm not needed to actually start this prompt. But again, this takes time. You should not start from automation right now. You should feel confident and move through that in an evolutionary way. That's the best option, at least from my perspective and observations. So, summing up the individual, what to do, keep your hygiene, don't be overstressed. One of the things I've been told a lot from staff principal level developers who are working with agents and claiming to be 10x, or at least 3x, they're humble, is that you will always like try to have concurrent tasks working with agents because you wait a lot. Idle time is not something you want to have. Still, be very careful, use only one, do only one complex task, which requires your attention, and the rest should be only like very simple thing, which does not really take any energy to review. From the forming skills, I think most of the people have some experience these days. If not, or if you want to like boost this experience, just think of the how to approach that. So one of the options could be like treat it like a tool. Just try to do your job with that tool, see what happens. Start with simple task. I agree with Martin here. Maybe also think of how to treat it as a working in pair programming. We all been there, sitting with the other person, trying to guide this person and like observe what is happening, planning together, discussing options, investigating. It actually it works surprisingly nice with agents these days. So highly advise. And from the fear perspective, we're all behind, all right? So we are all behind. You cannot just compete with all these news and announcements. One thing you should know is like an announcement is a promise, a wishful thinking promise. It's not reality yet, right? So don't be stressed. Second, if you have a time to apply that and learn yourself, that's the only thing you can confirm whether it's something meaningful or not. Most of these announcements are not meaningful, especially given that we have a lot of IPOs coming forward this year. You will get a lot more pressure. Okay, now getting to the teams. We've been talking about the productivity, which is kind of marginal. It's not 10x. And we get more and more reports, like longitude studies of organizations trying to adopt AI. I think it will be improving over time, but it's important to mention that for now, there's a huge gap between the promise of 10x productivity and the reality of this productivity. So this is a DX study for the last 2 years, and you can see that there's actually an outlier on the right side where people know something, they get much better results, but there's like a combination of different factors. And some of the organizations are even experiencing a decrease in productivity, which is also something that you should be ready for when you start. So what's happening with teams? I think one of the important changes recently was to actually start thinking about costs. Before that, you just pay like $100, and that's fine, that's another license, so why sweat? Now it's tens, thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and who's being pressured to make an impact? Not an individual specifically, but those who can actually build the system out of it. So usually engineering managers, department leads, team leads are being asked to deliver some results and productivity boost with AI, but also still take care of the production, so it's not failing. And it's the thing is that when you get to the point when a lot of people start working with agents, the process starts to fail. And that's natural because you actually change one of the steps within your system, so it creates a lot of waves to the whole process. And as we can code much faster, why don't we just pull the whole backlog and ask agents to do that and then merge that? That's also something that you need to consider and make sure everyone understands the consequences. So first, subsidies are about to end for most of the organizations. I think for now, if you are an organization with 100 or 150 developers, then you should either already be on API pricing or be prepared to the API pricing, which is 5x, 10x cost associated with all the development. And things are pretty much adopted. So you will see the immediate result once you switch. And one of the advices here is like think of how to start preparing for the evaluation. Like what is the impact of that? Why are we doing this automation? What the outcome is? How can we separate the consumption from Nick doing this automation to a very specific automation itself, which is like, I don't know, service accounts associated with this cost, but we all know that this is a code review agent we run. And we can actually try to evaluate the code review agent instead of Nick. The next one is that developers prefer different tools. You cannot force them to use one tool, unfortunately, for me. Still, it's very natural that different people will use different agents and at some point create a zoo. You don't see that slide, but this is actually like a pull request we had to integrate Gemini CLI tool within Air. It's 7K rows in one PR, unfortunately. So that will create a lot of mess. People will add agents.md files. They will change them. They will add different agents. They will add different pull. Like, that's going to be a mess. And that's OK. That's expected. And yeah, I told you about the velocity trap. Let's close all the issues in one go. The key idea here is that code is not an opportunity for you. Code is a liability. So the more code you have which you do not understand or which is not shared across the team, the more liability and a backfire potentially you're going to have in the end. So trying to be more productive, shipping more code is not an option, just to be clear. We think of teams in a very simplistic framework of different maturity levels. When you start on the left, on level 1, it's when within your team there are 1 or 2 people practicing agents, while the rest are doing more manual software development, more traditional. On level 2, you have the majority of people using agents. That's where Zoo starts to surface, and that's where you see that you cannot scale that much because it will only break things harder. And once you figure this out, you realize that you have to have an investment into your software development lifecycle, into your processes, before you can actually scale and be more productive. That's a realization not everyone understands right now. It's not just about like spending more tokens. It's about rethinking how can we spend more tokens and still be net positive on the business outcome or technical outcome. And at L4, you start thinking of how to optimize this. And I urge everyone not to think much about how to optimize, be realistic, but it's not about the time to optimize when you don't have anything to scale. It's just like the wrong order. But still, you cannot just have unlimited tokens for most of the organizations, so it's fair to say that you need to think of it. We are mostly targeting the L2 right now, because I think that's when we can actually help as JetBrains, trying to build some foundation with teams, trying to work together with different agents. And there are lots of things to solve. A lot of things to solve, even on this stage, that I cannot tell you that we know the solution for everything. But yeah, our goal is to make sure we do that within the reasonable time frame to help people start scaling this. So what to do? Just a few things. From the bidirectional pressure perspective, I think you should, if you are a team lead or engineering manager, start thinking how can you tell your boss or your CFO why do we spend this amount of tokens for this. It doesn't have to be very instrumented so far. You just start building the mental model of applying the cost towards some outcome and start teaching your team to be really transparent, whether they just burn tokens or they try for something really good. For SDLC, there is no like simple solution, simple recipe. There are lots of white papers around like where to start. I think most of them are reasonable, but also start thinking like who owns the configuration for the agent. It moves from the individual setup to shared setup. So you should treat it the same way. Who owns the configuration for our team, for this repo, for agent to work? Who owns the ingestion of context? How much tribal knowledge we share with the agent? Who thinks of like what to share with them so they are more consistent and more productive? And yeah, just invest into maintenance before you start pulling your agents and firing them towards new features, because you will then end up in a very different state. Lastly, about the organizations, I think most of the team level problems apply on the higher level to them. The agentic zoo creates a lot of frustration because you don't see what is happening. You have a lot of shadow AI where people building and trying different tools. You have no governance over that. You cannot enforce things, and you do not see an outcome. Ask any CTO whether they have an outcome so far from agents, and they will be humbling and trying to change the topic a lot, or just tell you about a specific workflow which works, which is already a great thing. We expect that token spend will rise. So while the price for tokens supposed to be going down, not happening for frontier models, but the token spend will rise. I'm not sure this much, because this is from Goldman Sachs. They're underwriters for IPOs, so they're slightly more optimistic than they have to do. But I think the direction is right. So you should expect that it will not go down, it will only go up. And another thing, this is from Dora. Once you realize that you have to adopt your SDLC to that, you should not expect the immediate return. So you all start with a negative impact when you start this change. Same way as you move from the monolith to microservices, from microservices to monolith, you will get a negative impact from a short period of time because you need to learn how to do that, because you need to verify and validate the change. It's like a tax action, and you need to adopt all the pipelines until they are working well enough, at least to reach out the zero baseline and then go up, hopefully. And what to do? If you are managing the organization, engineering organization nowadays, I think most of these problems are well known. Still, I would highlight one of them. It's not that transparent to understand that this might be the key blocker. We treat agents as workers that can do job for software developer with them or instead. They can automate, they can be used in automation and do toil tasks. But we sometimes miss that your developer is a person with an elevated access to different tools, external and internal. They have a lot of things which are connected to their tool chain locally. And when you try to do the same with the agent, the same task, then you realize that the agent is not so well connected. So they cannot just go to your internal Grafana or your external Google Drive or whatever tool your developer is currently using to perform this task. And that creates a problem that you have to admit that first you want to be proactive to connect agents through the platform or directly before you can actually ask people to show how agents do the same thing with the same quality. And it's hard. I just got a notification from my security that the permission for Cloud agents was approved for some connector. I did the request 6 months ago. I'm not sure why I needed that back in the day, but yeah, that's how it works. So be proactive, green lighting that. Be proactive in giving agents the red carpet experience to access tools in a secure way, and help your teams to actually build something meaningful with agents and delegate more to them. Last thing, if you want to have a chat or just talk about agents within that space, connect on LinkedIn. I don't use X anymore for obvious reasons. I showed you. And soon we are starting the private and then public preview of JetBrains Central. This is a control plane for agents. I think it's just, again, one of the things that could help move. And if the mission resonates, if what I'm saying resonates with you, just send us like your email in the waitlist and see when we publish that round. That's pretty much it for it. Thanks.
About using multiple agents to do multiple jobs, and this actually brings mental fatigue. So how do we spend the time actually waiting for the agent if we're not going to use many in parallel? And what do you think will be a good user interface, perhaps in the JetBrains Air, just to make this actually easier for the people to work with multiple requests at the same time to different agents? Thank you.
You mean different agents, like the same agent but do different tasks, or?
Yeah, the same, different sessions, really. So you have one agent, for example, doing coding examples, and you have 5 different tasks, really, and you run them in a different session. And how would the UI look in that case?
Well, I think most of the popular graphic interfaces already adapted to the idea of like concurrent sessions. So you just like run a new one, you use the work tree for that to isolate on the disk. Once we move more into the cloud infrastructure, cloud sandboxes, that would be expected. So that just allows you to run unlimited number of sessions without thinking of like whether to close your laptop or not. And if you saw the slide where I showed the layout here. Oh yeah, this one. This is actually a wipe-coded prototype from one of our engineers who is working with Claude a lot. So people are building some kind of interfaces to optimize that attention a lot, because that's already a reality for them. They cannot just stay within one terminal or one session. They already start to think like how to make it more productive, if that answers your question.
Yes, yes. I was thinking actually about when you have something like an IDE in there, and then you have, I don't know, 5 different tasks working at the same time. It might be difficult actually to know which task is which window, and then you have to navigate.
Yeah, we put a lot of effort into that in Air. Unfortunately, it's really hard to do that in IntelliJ, for example, but we're doing much progress. So Air is more radical approach to start working with agents. But still, it allows you to like switch meaningfully, seeing your code and navigate across the code, even with multiple tasks. But that's a tough technical thing to do. I think you should expect a lot of changes across the UX, because we as a product, we're experimenting with that. And to be honest, I'm not satisfied yet with all the tools we currently have for developers to work with agents.
Hey, I thought it was interesting, in the space of a few slides, you went from showing progress through like more pull requests,
right.
And like 2 slides later, we're like, but watch out just for velocity,
right?
Because these aren't the same thing. I'm just wondering, and then you showed the trough of like slowing down as these things are adopted.
Well.
And so I'm just wondering, like, how long, from your position, have you seen that trough go on? Because I think a lot of us have seen these tools come in, our PR rates go up, but then the business is like, where's the actual outcome?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you have any sort of view on like how long that period goes on for till we actually see the results coming out the end.
So there are a lot of things to talk about. I think first, the whole DLC is like a river with logs around. So if you just like move faster on one go, then you create like a bottleneck on the other side. So one of the obvious things, like you have to review a lot more, and that's a problem. And I don't think it's scalable anyhow if you teach the engineer to just code review faster. It requires to build all the quality gates which are more automatic with a threshold of the confidence. So you just skip the review part. You don't need to share the learning about dependency bump, right? We just can do that. Another thing is, I mean, I think the industry agrees that pull request is not the system of record for things working with agents, but we don't have a better one. So we work with what we have. And I think that ultimately, at least what we're building internally, is that the idea that the task is a collaborative thing. So you have more than one developer to work on this task. You have more than one session which is linked to that task. You have a product manager like me who wants to like see what's the progress and like provide some input. So hopefully soon we will see a different way of thinking about what is the agent task, and like what kind of artifacts it should have, and what kind of participants should be included into that task, so the review process is not needed anymore, because people can actually see the progress and share and discuss that. A lot of cool stuff is coming from GitHub Next research team, I think. So this is a very interesting development.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.